Grouping with similar needs. If a child's needs cannot be met in the regular education classroom and the child will be placed in a classroom that is made up entirely of other children that are classified, these children must be grouped with similar needs. Similar needs in academics, in social, in physical, and in management. Similarity in academics would include things in how is the child achieving, what are their functional performance, and their learning characteristics. The range of academic or educational achievement shall be limited to assure instruction provides opportunities for each child to achieve his or her annual goals. The CSE will consider this the most important thing in grouping, but they must also consider the other three areas in making location and placement decision. Social development. How well does a student interact with others, and what's the maturity level of the social development in the classroom? Social development can play a big role in whether a child is able to achieve their IEP goals or not. Physical development must also be considered, such things as opportunities to benefit from instruction and access to it. Development can vary, but considerations need to be given to the level of variation in the development in that classroom, and is it appropriate for your child, again, to be able to meet their IEP goals. Last, management needs of a student need to be looked at closely. Things like, are there appropriate management supports in place to meet the needs of each student? One student's needs should not consistently detract from the learning opportunities of other students in the classroom. Management of needs may vary in the classroom, but consider if this variation is appropriate for your child, again, to be able to progress on their IEP goals. That's the most important thing about their progress on the IEP goals. Classified students must also be grouped within 36 months of age. The exceptions are if a school gets a variance from the state education department to go beyond the 36 months of age, or if the student is 16 years or older, then students could possibly be grouped from the ages of 16 to 21-year-olds. Or another exception would be if a student is placed in a classroom with up to 12 students with one teacher and one aide for every 3 students, and this is called a 12-to-1-3 classroom. Then those students can range in ages from 5 years to 21 years old. This program is for students with severe multiple disabilities. Always be sure to ask the age range of any placement being considered for your child. As we continue to look at the continuum of services, we can see we're going up the triangle, and each step is considered more restrictive because now students are grouped separately with other students with disabilities in separate classrooms. Resource Room is a special education program for a student in either a special class or in general education who needs specialized supplementary instruction for a portion of the day that supports their classroom instruction. Resource Room is for a minimum of 3 hours a week or can be combined with consultant teacher services for a total of both services being given for a minimum of 3 hours a week. The key here is minimum. The children can receive more than 3 hours. As we go up the triangle, the first special class would be a 15-to-1, which means 15 students to 1 teacher. These classes are typically found in large school districts as a district-based classroom. A 12-1-1 would have 12 students and 1 teacher. If you go to a 12-1-to-1, there would now be an aide in the classroom. An addition of an aide in this classroom would be based on the management needs of the students that might be interfering with the instructional process. These classrooms are typically found in local school districts as district-based classrooms or as BOCES classrooms. An 8-to-1-to-1 would be 8 students, 1 teacher, and 1 aide. This special class would be made up of students whose management needs are determined to be intensive and require a significant degree of individualized attention and intervention. These classrooms are typically found in local school districts as district-based classrooms or as BOCES classrooms. A 6-to-1 would be 6 students, 1 teacher, and 1 aide. This classroom would be made up of students whose management needs are considered highly intensive and require a high degree of individualized attention and intervention. These classrooms are typically found in local school districts as district classrooms or as BOCES classrooms. A 12-to-1-to-3 would consist of 12 students and 1 aide for every 3 students. This special class is made up of students with severe multiple disabilities ranging in ages from 5 years old to 21 years old. The students program consists primarily of habilitation and treatment in this classroom. This could possibly be a district-based program, or it could be a BOCES program. Private schools are considered very restrictive because these schools are only for students with disabilities in a segregated setting. There are no opportunities to be around children without disabilities. These classrooms are typically 8-to-1-to-1 or 6-1-to-1. Residential is considered even more restrictive because the student would be living away from home at a school that is only for students who have disabilities. Home and hospital are considered the most restrictive placement. In this placement, the student is not able to interact with any other students with disabilities or without disabilities. In your resource section, you have the link to the New York State Education Department's Continuum Special Education Services publication that will help you better understand the entire continuum. It also has an excellent question and answer section to answer questions. In your resources, you also have a link to question and answers on LRE on the Rights Law website. This will help you better understand the legal aspects of LRE. Understanding the continuum will help you to be a better advocate for your child when placement decisions have to be made.